We're so glad you're listening to the Children's Hour podcast. You can also get our shows early at patreon.com/thechildren'shour. For a very limited amount of time, you can play along with the Children's Hour by donating $25 or more, and you'll get a deck of Children's Hour playing cards. Play with us. Please donate at childrenshour.org. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
Why did the fly never land on the computer?
I don't know. Why?
Because he was afraid of the World Wide Web.
It's time for the Children's Hour. Kids Public Radio.
Rolled out of bed, headed to the bathroom, lifted the lid, but somebody beat me to it. Somebody beat me to it. There's a little bug,
There's a little bug,
a hairy little bug.
a hairy little bug.
There's a little bug
There's a little bug.
dancing on my toilet bowl. Dancing on my toilet bowl. Oh yeah.
Hairy Little Bug is Danny Weinkauf from a CD called Dinosaurs and Metaphors. You're listening to the Children's Hour. I'm Katie Stone. I'm always so happy to be with you today. And with me is a whole lot of great people. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Let's say our hellos so everybody knows who's here.
Hello, it's Zen.
Hello, it's Amadeus.
Hi, it's Melissa.
Hi, it's Daniel.
Hi, it's Illuminata.
Hi, it's Lucas.
Happy day, it's Maya.
Well, I am delighted everyone's here today. We are going to have on the show with us an entomologist. That's a bug scientist. Jason Schaller runs the Bugarium at the Albuquerque Biopark. And he's going to be with us talking about some of the coolest bugs around the United States and North America. Some bugs are big, some bugs are beautiful, some are big and beautiful, and all of them have an importance in nature. I'm happy we're talking about bugs because even though I think they're beautiful and I know their incredible importance in nature, sometimes they creep me out, frankly. How about you guys?
Yeah.
Oh, me too. There are some bugs that I like, but some of them I just cannot. One of them is a tarantula. Cannot deal with those.
Well, technically, tarantulas aren't true bugs. They're not even insects.
Leave it to you, Zen, to know things like that spiders are not insects. And we'll be learning the distinctions here on the show today and learning a lot more about tarantulas, which are a thing here in New Mexico. Last year, we had an episode with Commissioner Charlene Pascotti from Bernalillo County. She lives in the mountains, and the show is called Life at Altitude, if you want to find it on our podcast. Anyway, in that episode, she describes the season of tarantulas. For me, my creepy bug is centipedes, and I don't mean the little tiny ones that are in the north. I mean the 8 to 10 inch long ones with the stingers that can really hurt you that live around here. Those things just have a primal fear, I think, that we all share.
Yeah, they are pretty spooky, but they're, as far as myriapods go, they're fine. They're really interesting arthropods. They're really cool.
As well as they're vital to our ecosystem. You may not realize it, but they're eating a lot of your bugs in your garden.
Yeah.
Sorry, I told you that they're in your garden, but they most likely are.
I don't know that I wanted to know they were in my garden. Oh,
They're good at what they do.
I think that's good.
I saw one in my garden yesterday, and it was so gross. It was tiny, but it was still really gross.
It's hard not to be scared of certain bugs, but other bugs are really super cute, like bumblebees and ladybugs. I even like praying mantises. Do you guys like those?
Those are kind of fun.
They're like giant predatory cockroaches. They're very close relatives.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I guess I used to like praying mantises. Thanks, Zen. There's a lot to learn about insects, and we're going to just talk bugs. And in that category, we're going to put not just traditional and true insects, but also arachnids and others. Jason Schaller is with us from the Albuquerque Biopark's Bugarium. And the Extinction Diaries are coming up also talking about bugs. Stick with us. This is the Children's Hour.
Oh, there ain't no bugs on me. There ain't no bugs on me. There may be bugs on some of you mugs, but there ain't no bugs on me. Well, the Junior bug comes in the month of June. The lightning bug comes in May. Bed bug comes just any old time, but ain't not going to stay. Oh, there ain't no bugs on me. There ain't no bugs on me. There may be bugs on the rest of you mugs, but there ain't no bugs on me. Well, a bullfrog sitting on a lily pad, looking up at the sky. The lily pad broke and the frog fell in. He got water all in his eyeball. There ain't no bugs on me. There ain't no bugs on me. There may be bugs on some of you mugs, but there ain't no bugs on me. Get away, you horsefly. Mosquito, he fly high. Mosquito, he fly low. The old mosquito lands on me, well, he ain't gonna fly no more. Oh, there ain't no bugs on me. There ain't no bugs on me. There may be bugs on the rest of you mugs, but there ain't no bugs on me. Peanuts sitting on the railroad track, his heart was all aflutter. Along come a choo-choo on the track, toot-toot peanut butter. Oh, there ain't no bugs on me. Oh, there ain't no bugs on me. Girls, there may be bugs on some of you mugs, but there ain't no bugs on me. Well, little bugs have littler bugs upon their backs to bite them. And littler bugs have still littler bugs, and so ad infinitum. Oh, there ain't no bugs on me. There ain't no bugs on me. There may be bugs on the rest of you mugs, but there ain't no bugs on me. As I went walking through the woods, humming a tune so gaily, the wind come whistling through the trees and froze my ukulele. Oh, there ain't no bugs on me. There ain't no bugs on me. There may be bugs on some of you mugs, but there ain't no bugs on me. Oh, there ain't no flies on me. There ain't no flies on me. There may be flies on some of you guys, but there ain't no flies on me. Oh, there ain't no lobsters on me. There ain't no lobsters on me. There may be lobsters on some of you mobsters, but there ain't no lobsters on me. Oh, it ain't gonna rain no more, no more. It ain't gonna rain no more. How in the heck can I wash my neck when it ain't gonna rain no more? Oh, it ain't gonna rain no more, no more. Ain't gonna rain no may be bugs on some of you mugs, but there ain't no bugs on me.
From their Not Just for Kids CD, that's Jerry Garcia and David Grisman. You're listening to the Children's Hour, and with us on the show today is Jason Schaller. He is the curator of entomology at the Albuquerque Biopark, and he specifically runs the Bugarium. Welcome back to the Children's Hour, Jason.
Thank you. It's good to be back again.
You came on the show today to talk with us about bugs, and we were just chatting on the crew here about some of our least favorite bugs, and some that came up are tarantulas.
Least favorite?
I hate spiders with all my heart. They're so terrifying for me.
Why? Those are awesome. I understand mosquitoes.
Yeah, I'll be like up all night, like worrying about them. Like I'll be like half asleep, and I'll be like about to fall asleep, like, oh no, what if someone puts a spider on me? And then I wake up like breathing really hard.
I guess if you're an entomologist, you pretty much have to get over your fear of bugs. Is that right, Jason?
Yeah, and early on, I was terrified of bees and wasps growing up, and with time you get stung enough, you work with them enough to realize they're totally harmless. They don't want to hurt you. In the rare cases that they do sting, it's not that bad. It's exaggerated. A lot of it's psychological, and yeah, just like anything, with time, if you expose yourself and you slowly work on it, you can pretty quickly come over a fear like that.
I was hoping that you would talk about some of the regional standout bugs in the United States, ones that sort of exemplify something really great about bugs for a region, because we have listeners from all over the country, and they might not be able to see the beautiful tarantulas that we can see, but they might get fireflies.
Maybe we could talk about why certain bugs actually do live all over the United States as well. Why do we find ladybugs everywhere? Why do we find mosquitoes everywhere?
Well, on a very basic level, same reason why there's humans everywhere, and why there's gorillas only in a few parts of the Congo rainforest in Africa. It's different species have different adaptations that allow for different levels of conquering, I like to call it. And some species have evolved to be very adaptive and can survive in a lot of different habitats. And one of those things is mosquitoes, where if there's any scenario where there's some still, fresh water, they can grow in it. And you'll find that everywhere. There's really, few places in the country where there's no standing water every now and then. So exceptions would be deserts, of course. But even in the deserts where you have cities, where you have like Phoenix and Tucson, if you have a garden in your yard and, you have a little puddle there that doesn't evaporate for a while in the shade, some, Aedes aegypti mosquitoes can come in there and lay their eggs and take it over pretty quickly. But then other species are very specifically adapted to a certain type of microclimate or just general habitat. So something that is more limited would be like, just off the top of my head, like the elephant stag beetle or the giant stag beetle. It's our only really large stag beetle species in the United States, and it's only in the eastern forests. It likes those humid, deciduous forests where you have nice big rotting hardwoods, stumps and logs and stuff where they breed. And they don't survive outside of that. If you go into Canada, it gets a little too cold. If you go into the plains, it's too dry. So they're in that type of habitat. Some things are very specific to a certain type of soil in a certain area, and are also at the same time adapted to specific food items. So they'll be found in a very limited range along one river system somewhere. It's hugely varied. There's over 1 million known species on Earth, and that's how many different ways there are to survive. Some ways of surviving allow you to live in a big variety of places. Others allow you to survive in a tiny niche, and then everything in between.
It seems like things that are pests in our garden seem to know when we have the plant that they like growing in our gardens. So, for example, I will see squash bugs whenever I plant some kind of squash. There they are. But I don't see them unless I plant some kind of squash. How do they know that I planted squash?
Well, they're all around. So they're particularly bad in Albuquerque because we have a very large wild squash population here. The buffalo gourd is super common in the foothills of the Sandia Mountains, near the Rio Grande in certain areas. It's all over the place. So there's just a natural reservoir from them. They're all around. And they also fly very well. So they can travel huge distances. A lot of these will hibernate in the soil as adults. Come cooler temperatures, they bury themselves under leaf litter and then crevices and under debris, and they wait for the warm weather to come out. So what happens is you get a bunch of adults coming out at once when it's warm, and they just start flying around. And they can feed on other plants temporarily, get a drink of water or something. They just fly around looking for squash plants. Once they find them, they can smell them out pretty good. They land, lay their eggs, and just start reproducing. And it goes very quickly from there. And they usually start doing this in the wild squash first.
Is the same true for things like tomato bugs and aphids and pests like that? Do they just are they just kind of everywhere and they just smell tomatoes and know to go to your yard?
They also probably just smell areas of lusher vegetation to begin with. Flying around, they can sense, if I go this way, it's kind of dry. There's really not much going on. If I stay within the city limits and near the river, there's lots of vegetation. So the city itself is kind of an oasis for life. So there's just a whole bunch of things kind of permanently living here, and then hunker down in the winter, come back up again when the temperatures go up.
I know in Connecticut, people have to watch out for ticks who can give Lyme disease. That's no fun. But over here in New Mexico, we're not as worried about that. We do have ticks, but they're not as serious.
There's Rocky Mountain spotted fever that's tick-borne. Another thing you can get from ticks is just a nasty paralysis that's caused by an allergic reaction to the saliva. And another really weird thing that comes from ticks is sometimes it can cause you to develop a red meat allergy. I had a colleague in the entomology department back in Tucson who was bitten by a tick when he was a teenager, and after that he could no longer eat red meat without a severe allergic reaction. Ticks are generally just less abundant where it's drier, so yay for us, there's not as many ticks as there are in the East Coast.
So I think this is why bugs get a bad rap, is because there's things like ticks that can paralyze us, and there's spiders that bite us or creep us out when we're trying to sleep, or there's creepy crawly centipedes. Jason, what bugs around the country shouldn't have a bad rap and we should love?
I would say minus the ticks and mosquitoes, they're all pretty awesome. There's the pests that cause billions of dollars of crop damage. That's another reason to not like them. Yeah, we're lucky. In the United States, there's not a lot of dangerous bugs out there. Our most venomous spider is the black widow. And, those are very timid. They don't like to bite. It's rare to get bitten. You basically have to put your hand in a glove or foot in a shoe, or just pin one up against your skin to where it can't move, like if it's in your clothes or something. And it's a last resort to bite. And, it has to be positioned just right to get its fangs into your skin. Death rates from black widow bites are very rare. Most people will be sick for a couple days. It's very painful. Not a huge deal compared to wandering spiders in South America or funnel web spiders in Australia. Brown recluse is another one that, even though you can get a pretty nasty ulcer from that bite, it's rarely fatal. And usually it's just a matter of keeping the wound clean for, a few weeks to a month while it heals, and you won't have a lot of issues. And again, they also don't like to bite. It's a rare thing where they just happen to be pinned against your skin via, through a glove, or you don't watch where you're putting your hand, or they're in your clothes. And it's rare. You're much more likely to be harmed by a plethora of other things out there, like driving your car. And, that's something to be a lot more scared of than any arthropod.
We're talking with Jason Schaller. He's the curator of entomology at the Albuquerque Biopark. He runs something called the Bugarium. And I promise we're going to get in to bugs we actually like and why we like them around the United States. And that's coming up right after this. You're listening to the Children's Hour.
Billy the bee, buzzing next to me. From tree to tree he flies along in the summer breeze. He's Billy, buzz, 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 the bee. Working day and night with super skill and might, he pollinates the flowers, taking nectar to the hive. He's Billy, buzz, 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 the bee.
You're listening to the Children's Hour, Kids Public Radio. We'll be right back.
The Children's Hour is produced by the Children's Hour Incorporated, a nonprofit dedicated to producing high-quality kids public radio. Find out more at childrenshour.org. Support provided by Electric Playhouse, an all-ages dining and interactive entertainment wonderland based in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Experience gaming in a whole new way, transporting you to another reality. See for yourself at electricplayhouse.com. Support is also provided by the City of Albuquerque Cultural Services Department and the Urban Enhancement Trust Fund.
So, what's up with Katie? She's acting like really strange.
Katie Caterpillar, what's up with her? She's not the same. Started eating tons of leaves on the ground and in the trees. Very strange. Then she shed her skin time and time again. Built a small cocoon and climbed right in. She stayed inside for several days. Everyone was quite amazed. What's she doing in there? She came out, what a surprise. No one could believe their eyes. Such a change. Now she's light and graceful, with multicolored wings. As she flew away, we heard her sing. I'm a butterfly, I'm a butterfly, I'm a butterfly. I'm a butterfly, I'm a butterfly, I'm a butterfly. I'm a butterfly, I'm a butterfly, I'm a butterfly. I'm a butterfly, I'm a butterfly, I'm a butterfly. I'm a butterfly, I'm a butterfly, I'm a butterfly. I'm a butterfly, I'm a butterfly, I'm a butterfly.
Katie Caterpillar is Key Wilde and Mr. Clark from a CD called Animal Tales. And before the break, you heard the Beat Buds with Billy the Bee. We're talking bugs with Jason Schaller, the curator of entomology at the Albuquerque Biopark's Bugarium. And before we jump into going around the country and talking about the best bugs in our different regions, Amadeus has a question.
What makes a true bug?
Well, there's a difference between true bug and the colloquial bug. And I'm actually pushing to define the word bug to be synonymous with arthropod. Because when we talk about bugs, we talk about spiders and scorpions, which are arachnids. We talk about centipedes and millipedes, which are myriapods. We talk about roly-polies and woodlouse, which are crustaceans, and insects, of course. And all of those are part of one animal group, the phylum Arthropoda, or the arthropods. So bug is a perfect synonym for arthropod. 99% of the time when you're just regularly referring to, oh, found some bugs here, or the bugarium, it refers to arthropods. So to me, bug means arthropod. And I think that's a great definition for it. Others would disagree, but that's, when I say bug, I mean arthropod. Things that aren't arthropods are snails, which are mollusks, earthworms, which are annelids. You have a few proto-arthropods like velvet worms and tardigrades, which are related, but they're not true arthropods. But I think we just call arthropods bugs. It works nicely. Now, true bug refers to one order of insects called the Hemiptera, which includes your stink bugs, assassin bugs, aphids, cicadas, aquatic predatory bugs like giant water bugs. A lot of them are big plant pests, and what they all have in common is they have a piercing, sucking mouth parts. So their mandibles and maxillae have evolved into this little tube-like thing for feeding on either plant juices or for hunting prey. There's four main types of arthropods. There's your insects, there's your arachnids and relatives, there's your crustaceans, and then there's your myriapods, which are centipedes and millipedes.
And so the standout bugs around this nation you're going to refer to today could be any one of these four, because you are going to refer to arthropods, what we would all say, wow, there's a bug. Okay, Jason, where should we go?
Let's start with, I always kind of group the East Coast together because basically your whole eastern seaboard with that big expanse of deciduous mixed forests hosts a lot of the same species. And when I think eastern forests, to me what stands out the most there is your giant silk moth diversity. So compared to other temperate parts of the world, the eastern United States has some of the most striking giant silk moth species. Things included are the Cecropia moth, the Polyphemus moth, the Luna moth, the regal moth. And the regal moth is interesting because it has one of the largest caterpillars on Earth. The caterpillar is enormous. It is by far the heaviest moth in North America. Gorgeous, gorgeous moth, bright orange and gray stripes on it. The caterpillar, called the hickory horndevil, it gets to over 6 inches. It's bluish green with these giant red and black horns on it. It looks like a real life dragon. And those are pretty common from, New Jersey, south to Florida, east to eastern Texas. I could name a whole list of different giant silk moths from the East Coast.
You keep calling them silk moths. Do they actually make silk?
Yes, the caterpillars do. So giant silk moths, they're related to the domestic silk moths. So domestic silk moths are like a sister family. And the domestic silk moth is domesticated from a wild silk moth. Basically, they're their own little family, the little true silk moths. They're pretty small and inconspicuous. We have a few species in the Southwest here. They look very similar to your Asian silk moths. But the giant silk moths are a different family. They're related to the hawk moths, even though the hawk moths really don't spin that much silk. And most of your giant silk moths spin elaborate silk cocoons into which they become a pupa inside of and metamorphosize into the adult. Their silk is not as good of quality as your domestic silk moths. So you just do see it used occasionally. There's some giant silk moth species like the Antheria pernii. There's also atlas moths, believe it or not, are grown for silk. It's not a very good quality silk, but they're fairly easy to grow on the large scale. And atlas moths are one of the largest with the 10-inch wingspan, really pretty red colors with windows in the wings. Really interesting family. One of my favorites.
You're talking about these silk moths, and I'm assuming that people walking around the forest, would they see like giant cocoons of them?
Oh no, they're well hidden. People almost, it's a rare treat to see any of the giant silk moths because they fly at night only. Most of the species do. They have pretty spread out populations where there's a few individuals here and there, and that's one of the ways they avoid parasitism from wasps and flies.
Parasitism? What is parasitism?
Broad definition is basically a parasite. So parasitism is an animal that lives off of another animal and causes it harm in doing so. So in caterpillars, their biggest predator is actually parasitic wasps, and more specifically, they're parasitoids because they don't just harm the caterpillar, they kill the caterpillar. And it's basically kind of like the alien from the movies. The female wasps will lay their eggs inside of caterpillars. The eggs hatch into little wasp larvae that eat the caterpillar from the inside. When the caterpillar goes to spin a cocoon, it dies inside the cocoon, and then all the little wasp larvae finish it off, pupate, and then they'll hatch out as little wasps and go sting other caterpillars. And there's hundreds of different species of wasps and flies that do this, all in different manners. Some of them, like the braconid wasps, will exit the caterpillar before the caterpillar is full grown. And if you've ever found like a hornworm, for example, covered in little white cocoons, those are braconid wasp cocoons, and those hatch into little wasps. And then you have hyperparasitism, where, let's say, a big tachinid fly, lays an egg near a feeding caterpillar. The caterpillar swallows the egg. A big maggot grows up inside of the caterpillar, eats its insides. But then a wasp comes along and lays its egg inside of the maggot inside of the caterpillar. So then, instead of a parasitic fly coming out, a bunch of little parasitic wasps came out that ate the parasitic fly. So it can get really crazy like that. It's absolutely fascinating.
We're speaking with Jason Schaller. He's from the Albuquerque Biopark's Bugarium. He's an entomologist and the curator of entomology. And Jason, we're going around the country talking about standout bugs. The moths sound beautiful. We've posted a lot of photos of those to childrenshour.org and to our social media feeds at TCH Radio. How about somewhere else?
So a lot of the cool things in the East Coast are going to be like the whole eastern half of the country. So giant silk moths are very widespread, a lot of them up into the plains. Some are throughout the country, like the Polyphemus moth. If we move on down south, we have some interesting things in the southeast that you don't get very far north. One of my favorites, and I tend to go beetle and moth heavy, so I'm trying to get away from that and touch on other things. Down south, you get more of the eastern Hercules beetle, which is one of our largest insects in North America in terms of bulk. They're a big yellowish gray spotted beetle. The males have a pretty big horn on the thorax and on the head. And then again, you get those throughout the southeast into Texas, and they basically don't make it up to Pennsylvania or Jersey. You also have one of the coolest stick insects is in the southeast, but that's more around Georgia to Florida, and that's the two-striped stick insect. And it's about 3 inches long, dark brown with these really vivid white stripes on it, and they are chemically defended, which is rare amongst the stick insects.
It's chemically defended. Can you describe what do you mean they have a poison?
It's not quite a poison, but it's a cocktail of just biochemicals they produce that smell nasty, taste bitter, can cause burning sensations in the eyes or in the mouth. I don't know if I'd quite define that as a poison, but definitions get blurry here in biology just because what defines a poison, what defines not poison. There's very fine lines and stuff.
We're talking with Jason Schaller, the curator of entomology at the Albuquerque Biopark and at the Bugarium. And we're going to come back more with Jason, talk about some of the bugs in the West. This is the 5 Demo on the Children's Hour.
We're bugging out. I'm on bug patrol, I'm on bug patrol. Yo, everywhere I go, I'm on bug patrol. I'm on bug patrol, I'm on bug patrol. Wherever butterflies fly or roly-polies roll. If you make a mess, you better clean it up. If you got some Brussels sprouts, you better eat them up. If you got a little brother, please don't beat him up. Yo, he needs your love, go wanna hug him up. Man, take him outside to catch bugs and stuff. Instead of slugging him, catch slugs and such. Instead of bugging him and roughing him up, I sight a night crawler and I dug him up. You can find some earthworms and unearth them. Go on and hold them in your hand, but don't hurt them. Cause when they're digging in the dirt, they're working to make our earth just a little more perfect. For growing gardenias in my garden. The grasshoppers on my block, they're not starving. Well, they're sure to survive. When we throw them in jars, then we keep on marching. We keep on marching on bug patrol. We're on bug patrol. Yo, everywhere we go, we're on bug patrol. I'm on bug patrol. I'm on bug patrol. Wherever butterflies fly or roly-polies roll. It's important to know what you're picking up. Cause some bugs bite, sting, and stink you up. So let's learn about the bugs that we're picking up. And be careful not to hurt them when we pick them up. Well, it's important to know what you're picking up. Cause some bugs bite, sting, and stink you up. So let's learn about the bugs that we're picking up. And be careful not to hurt them. Don't try to catch a bee or a wasp unless the sting is the thing that you want. Yo, be careful not to pick up a moth, or you'll rub all his little scales off. Cause those things on his wings that are soft are the things that bring his wings loft. So if you was to rub them all off, the little guy would never fly or take off. So when you go out in the yard, you always gotta be on your guard. Think twice before you pick up a spider. Is he nice or is this type of biter? On bug patrol, we're on bug patrol. Yo, everywhere we go, we're on bug patrol. I'm on bug patrol, I'm on bug patrol. Wherever fireflies fly or glowworms glow. Mom got scared when she saw a spider, so I caught him in a jar, felt like a provider. She was so proud, like go on tiger. We all celebrated with some apple cider. On bug patrol, we're on bug patrol. Yo, everywhere we go, we're on bug patrol. I'm on bug patrol, I'm on bug patrol. Wherever walking sticks or rolling polies roll. It's important to know what you're picking up. Cause some bugs bite, sting, and stink you up. So let's learn about the bugs that we're picking up. And be careful not to hurt them when we pick them up. It's important.
Bug Patrol is the 5 Demo. And you're listening to the Children's Hour. With us today is Jason Schaller. He's the curator of entomology, the bug guy at the Albuquerque Biopark and Bugarium. And Jason, let's go west. Let's look at California. Surely there's great bugs in California.
There are. And California has some of the most unique taxa of arthropods that are found nowhere else on Earth, in fact, or are like rare relics from earlier times in geographic history. One of the coolest things, you have an entire family of beetles that is found nowhere else on Earth except for the Pacific coast. They're called rain beetles, Pleocomidae, and they're related to the scarabs. They look like June bugs, but they're in fact of their own unique family. And you get them into Baja California a little bit, and then you have a few species in British Columbia and Canada, but the majority of them are all from Oregon to California, mainly in California. And so that's almost an endemic family, or that is an endemic family to Western North America. And they're fascinating because they can spend up to 3 years in the ground as a larva, as a big grub, feeding on roots. And then they all come out during the winter rains. So anywhere between November and January is their peak season. And you'll see males coming out. They'll come out. Some species, there'll be snow on the ground, and they're emerging as adults. And you'll see big swarms of them, usually in the mornings when it's nice and wet right after rain or snow. And they're looking for females, which are flightless. The females are much bigger. They never leave the ground, and they just lay all their eggs basically in one place. They'll dig some tunnels and scatter them out a little bit, but they don't spread like the males do. And then, once the eggs hatch, the larvae just kind of move in the soil, feed on roots, take 3 years again. And there's quite a few species of rain beetles. Some are pretty small. Some you have females that are almost as big as an eastern Hercules beetle. Really cool family, weird looking, very hairy on the bottom, weird little horns on the male. They're kind of tiny. It's one of my favorite families, and it's totally unique to the West Coast. Another thing you see only in the West is you have a group of, going back to the silk moths again, you have a group of giant silk moths that are generally from Asia and Europe, but you have 3 species that are only in California and Oregon and northern Baja. You have a type of porcine bombardier beetle. So there's 2 different families of bombardier beetles. One is the porcines, one are the brachynes, and the brachynes are the bigger, more common family. The porcines are weird. A lot of them live with ants and feed on ants, but there's one weird one that's only from California and Idaho and some parts of the Intermountain West. And then the only other known species in that group is in Asia. So
they came from Asia. Did they come on a boat, or how did they get here?
Things like that, evidence points to when one of the times when North America and Asia were connected, they made their way over and became a relict population.
I feel like all of this is kind of freaking me out because how wasps lay eggs inside of caterpillars, and it's kind of giving me the willies.
Life on Earth wouldn't exist without them. And literally, they're on you right now. You have follicle mites. They're also known as eyelash mites. They live in some of your hair follicles, and they're really tiny. You'll never know they're there.
Let's talk about your standout bug for the southwestern United States.
Well, I'll start with our state insect here. I had more stuff in the bugarium, but I brought a few things. So come here, you. So this is a tarantula hawk. So this one, I'm doing an experiment to see how long we can keep these alive in captivity for. We had an outside exhibit set up for them, but it did not work out. It gets way too hot there. Even with daily feedings and waterings, they would all disappear into the cracks trying to hide and preserve moisture. A lot of them didn't survive well. So inside in enclosures, they seem to do really well. So I've had this one for about a month now. So this is a nice big female.
And we've posted pictures of this beautiful wasp to our website, childrenshour.org, and also to our social media feeds at TCH Radio.
They don't want to sting. They're quite timid as wasps. They'll get a little defensive on you and show their wings, start pulsing their abdomen, but they are gorgeous. They have these nice blue colors, bright orange wings, and that's, of course, warning colors because they are said to have one of the most painful stings of an insect. I found this to not be quite true. It is a weird sting. Like unlike other bees and wasps that feel very localized, a sting from this just goes straight to your bone. And it feels like you broke a bone for like 5 seconds. Then it goes away relatively quickly. And it's a little swollen and itchy for a day. But really, overall, I'd say one of the more mild stings. It's just kind of like a quick punch. And it's really not that bad. So, and as you can see, I can just handle her freely. And to get her to sting, I have to grab her pretty hard to trigger that sting response. They do want to conserve their venom for their prey, which is tarantulas, of course. But you see, she's a good-sized wasp, and she is just gorgeous. Great state insect they picked here, because these are really common even within the Albuquerque area. So their larvae eat tarantulas. They're just like the wasps that lay their eggs in caterpillars, except for they do it to tarantulas. And instead of laying their egg in the tarantula, they lay their egg on it. So they sting it to paralyze it. The tarantula is alive, but it can't move. And she drags it into a burrow, lays an egg on it, and leaves. And that egg hatches into a little white larva, and that white larva, bites a little hole in the tarantula and starts sucking the juices out of it. And it has to be very careful. If it bites too much into the tarantula, then the tarantula will rot, and then the larva won't be able to eat it and grow. So that's why the tarantula has to be alive for the entire thing. Very gruesome way to go if you're a tarantula. Thank God there's nothing like that hunts humans.
I think we all agree with that, Jason. Jason Schaller is the curator of entomology at the Albuquerque Biopark Bugarium. Thanks for being with us on the Children's Hour, Jason.
Yeah, thank you.
Lots more coming up on the Children's Hour, including the Extinction Diaries, talking about the perils bugs and insects are facing around the world right now.
You're listening to the Children's Hour, Kids Public Radio. We'll be right back.
The Children's Hour is supported in part by an award from New Mexico Arts, a division of the Department of Cultural Affairs, and by the National Endowment for the Arts. Children's Hour listeners, getting control of the COVID virus is within reach. If we just wash our hands with great frequency, continue social distancing, and wear a mask every time you're out in public. We can do this. We can get rid of COVID, but we have to do it together.
Extinction Diaries. On July 31st, 2020, the UN again warned that insect populations are collapsing on Earth. Bees, butterflies, and many pollinators are vanishing at alarming speed. Not just them. Data confirms over 40% of all bugs are headed to extinction and declines are accelerating. Experts say that bug extinctions even threaten human existence. Pollinating insects are vital to approximately 3/4 of the world's food supply. Food shortages would reach a breaking point and result in widespread famine. Even so, it may be a more serious problem that a collapse of insects would also collapse birds, reptiles, and other species that feed on them. Individuals can help insects, but time is running out and we need global unity and mobilization to make a difference. Fighting climate change and pesticide poisoning for insects is a solution strategy. Nations began climate talks in 1992, but countries failed to unite, and cancer-causing pesticides are still legal in the US. Not very encouraging. Children love bugs. It's time to bug your parents about bugs. My name is Mahaya Soul, and this is a Small World Radio production.
There's a grasshopper that landed on my toe. I have to tell him when it's time to go, so I march him away. There's a dragonfly that landed on my hip. To him I'm as big as a cargo ship, so I shake him away, shake him away. A moth flew up and landed on my side. He didn't eat my sweater, but he tried. Twist him away, twist him away. I move from head to toe, so there's nowhere for bugs to go. Sing is my guarantee that no bugs can land on me. So let's move from head to toe, so there's nowhere for bugs to go. Sing is my guarantee that no bugs will land on me. There's a firefly that landed on my hand, blinking in a code that I don't understand. Waving away, waving away. There's a butterfly just landed on my shoulder. Tried, but she just wouldn't let me hold her. Shrug her away, shrug her away. A ladybug just landed on my ear. Told me stories that I couldn't really hear, so I brush her away, brush her away. I move from head to toe, so there's nowhere for bugs to go. Sing is my guarantee that no bugs can land on me. So let's move from head to toe, so there's nowhere for bugs to go. Sing is my guarantee that no bugs will land on me. I guess that's just what I should expect. If I sit in a field, then bugs is what I get. Brush it away, brush it away. Bugs and worries can get in the way, but sometimes dancing makes it all okay. Oh, just brush it away, brush it away, just brush it away. I move from head to toe, so there's nowhere for bugs to go. Sing is my guarantee that no bugs can land on me. Let's
bug if I could. If I could, I would hug a bug. Because who needs a hug more than a bug? Bugs give people scary dreams, make them squeal, make them scream. It's tough to be a bug. How would you feel? To be trapped in a web as a spider's meal? You get no respect for being an insect. The opposite of hug me is go away, you bug me. Some bugs can be heroes if you give them a chance. They eat the bad bugs who eat our vegetables and plants. Bugs create things like silk and honey and give it all away. They never ask for money. Give a bug a chance. Give a bug its due. Bugs love their children like your parents love you. If I could, I'd hug a bug. A ladybug will do. And I'd bet if she could, she'd hug me too.
I have a little sister, she's only 3:30. Here's a little story that she once said to me. A flea and a fly got caught in the flue. The flea and the fly didn't know what to do. Let's flee, said the fly, let's fly, said the flea, and they couldn't get out of the flue. Oh me, oh my, poor flea, poor fly. Well, it made me cry when that poor little fly got caught in the flue with the flea. Said the fly to the flea, I see what I see. Well, the flue had a flaw where no flaw ought to be. Let's flee, said the fly, let's fly, said the flea, and out of the flue they flew. Oh me, oh my, smart flea, smart fly. Well, don't you cry, 'cause that smart little fly got out of the flue with the flea. Well, don't you cry, 'cause that smart little fly got out of the flue with the flea. Flee, little fly, little flue, little fly, out of the flue they flew. Yeah.
Kathy Fink and Marcy Marks are from a CD called Rockin' the Uke. And Flea and a Fly and a Flue is also an Ogden Nash poem. Before that, you heard the poem done by Timothy Finn from a CD called Wildflowers. I'd hug a bug if I could. Bug Out was the Pop-Ups from a CD called Appetite for Construction. Kids want to know how they can help bugs, and one thing you can do is download an app for your mobile device, whatever you use. It's called iNaturalist, and it's a way to track what you're seeing in your yard and share that data with scientists who are studying the creatures in your yard. It works for plants and animals and insects. And it's just one way that you can, from home, help track how the bugs are doing around you. You're listening to the Children's Hour. This is Jim Stoltz.
Let's hear for the slugs.
For the slugs!
And the bugs.
And the bugs!
And the rats and the bats and the slippy slimy critters and the little ones are rare they're found. For it's the teeny weeny tiny and the gritty gritty grimy, they make the world go round, round, they make the world go round. The snails hide their tails, the worms like to squirm, the slug gives a shrug, he's feeling so smug. The caterpillar makes her way at the stem, what would we do without all of them? Let's hear for the slugs and the bugs and the slippy slimy critters and the little ones are rare they're found. For it's the teeny weeny tiny and the gritty gritty grimy, they make the world go round, round, they make the world go round. Ladybugs and tumblebugs and smelly stink bugs, potato bugs and love bugs and even doodle bugs, the fleas and bees playing in the breeze, what would we do without all of these? Let's hear for the slugs and the bugs and the slippy slimy critters and the little ones are rare they're found. For it's a teeny weeny tiny and the gritty gritty grimy, they make the world go round, round, they make the world go round. Newt is a beat, she's looking so cute. The snake gives a shake, he's heading for the lake. The mouse and the louse are going for a swirl. There's all kinds of life in this wide world. Let's hear for the slugs and the bugs and the slippery slimy critters and the little with the rear they're found. For it's a teeny weeny tiny and the gritty gritty granny, they make the world go round, round, they make the world go round. Does a hurl, getting to the log, the frog does a jog, hopping through the bog. Moths and the butterflies, they look so neat, the smallest ones make the biggest trees. Let's hear for the slugs, and the bugs, and the rats and the bats, and the slippery slimy critters, and the little with the rear they're found. For it's a teeny weeny tiny and the gritty gritty granny, they make the world go round, round, they make the world go round, round, they make the world go round.
With the itsy bitsy spider, it went up the water spout. Down came the rain, washed the spider out. Up came the sun and it dried up all the rain. And the itsy bitsy spider, it took the A train. The itsy bitsy spider, he made friends along the way. There were lots of things to do at every stop the train made. But when he got to missing that old water spout back home, the minuscule arachnid, it took the A train home. Take it. If you got a problem, if it's a gloomy day, take a hint from it, say, and don't you run away. No, the next time that it's raining, the next time that you're blue, you gotta keep your chin up, just like all good spiders do. 'Cause the sky is gonna clear up, or the sun is gonna shine. And then you and me and all our friends, we can run out and play outside along with the itsy bitsy spider. Went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Sing if you know it. Up came the sun and dried up all the rain. And the itsy bitsy spider went up the spout. Up that spout again, itsy bitsy spider, it went up the water spout. And then down, down, down came the rain just to wash the spider out. Hey, up, 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 up came the sun and dried up all the rain. Oh, and the itsy bitsy, it got up the spout till they train. Till they train.
The Itsy Bitsy Spider Took the A Train is the Big Cats Band featuring Skip Ewing from a CD called Indian Elephant Tea. Before that, from his Kid for the Wild CD, that was Jim Stoltz with Slugs and Bugs.
The Children's Hour is written and produced by Katie Stone at the Sunspot Solar Studio in Albuquerque, New Mexico, with help from all of us on the kids crew.
Many thanks to Jason Schaller from the ABQ Biopark for being on the show with us today.
Also, thank you to the kids from the Extinction Diaries.
Our podcast can be found wherever you get your podcasts, like Apple, Stitcher, or support us at patreon.com/The Children's Hour.
We post photos and more on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Find us at TCH Radio.
The Children's Hour can be heard on more than 70 stations in the United States and Canada.
Hello to our listeners tuned in on WQNH in Candia, New Hampshire.
We're going to go out with the Terrible Twos. We'll catch you next time for another edition of the Children's Hour.
Ladybug, you've got wings. Fly away home, stay for spring. Ladybug, you've got style. I like your red suit, stay a while. Lightning bug, you're alright. Don't be scared now, you are the light. Lightning bug, shine so bright. You're a beacon in the night.
You've been listening to The Children's Hour. We're produced by The Children's Hour Incorporated, a tax-exempt nonprofit based in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we're dedicated to producing high-quality kids public radio. Find out more about us at childrenshour.org. Support provided by our sustaining listeners and from the city of Albuquerque. We are One Albuquerque. cabq.gov. We also had support from the Laughing Buddha Fund and the Limestone Foundation. Support was also provided by the Infinite Gesture Fund at the Albuquerque Community Foundation. Our theme music was written by C.K. Barlow.
We'll be back next time for another edition of
The Children's Hour, Kids Public Radio.
I love the Children's Hour.